Adam Silver stood at the podium during All-Star Weekend and said something the commissioner has never said before. Tanking is worse this year than anything the league has seen in recent memory. The Jazz just got fined $500,000. The Pacers got hit for $100,000, and Silver is now openly considering taking away draft picks as punishment. So what's driving nearly a third of the league to throw away their season? 3 names: Darryn Peterson, A.J. Dybantsa, and Cam Boozer. The 2026 draft class is being called the best in over a decade, and these teams will do anything to get one of them. Here are 5 NBA teams that are secretly tanking right now, and exactly how they're doing it. Number 5. Sacramento Kings. This one isn't even a secret anymore. Sacramento is 12-44, the worst record in the entire NBA, and they've now lost 14 straight games. They're on pace for the second worst season in franchise history, behind only the 1765 disaster in 2008-9. The real story is what happened behind the scenes. New GM Scott Perry came in this offseason and inherited a roster full of aging, expensive veterans who don't fit together. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Russell Westbrook, and Domantas Sabonis are all on this roster eating up cap space, while the team allows over 120 points per game. Their net rating is minus 10.5, one of the worst in the league. Sacramento isn't pretending anymore. Perry is running a full teardown, and with the 2026 draft class loaded with franchise-changing talent, the Kings front office knows that the worse they finish, the better their odds of landing Peterson, Dybantsa, or Boozer. After years of trying to build around a flawed core, they've finally accepted the tank. If you're enjoying this breakdown, hit that like button so we can keep exposing what's really happening around the league. Number 4. Indiana Pacers. The Pacers went to the NBA Finals last season. Now they're 15-40 and sitting near the bottom of the entire league. Indiana will tell you this is all about Tyrese Halliburton's Achilles tear in Game 7 of those finals, and that's partly true. But the front office moves tell a different story. Right before Halliburton's injury, the Pacers reacquired their 2026 first-round pick from the Pelicans in one of the shrewdest trades in recent memory. At the time, that pick looked like it would land in the late 20s. After the injury, it turned into potential lottery gold. Then, at the trade deadline, Indiana acquired Ivica Zubac from the Clippers, but structured the deal so that their pick goes to LA, only if it lands between 5 and 9. That means the Pacers have every incentive to either finish in the top 4 or the bottom of the lottery. The league fined Indiana $100,000 for conduct detrimental to the league, which tells you everything about how they're managing minutes and rotations. The Pacers are calling this a gap year, but the gap year just happens to line up perfectly with the best draft class in a decade. Number 3. Washington Wizards. Washington is running the most creative tank in the league, and it all comes down to one rule. Their 2026 first-round pick goes to the Knicks if it falls outside the top 8. That means the Wizards don't just need to be bad, they need to be bottom 8 bad, or they lose their pick entirely. So what did they do? They traded for Trae Young in January. On paper, it looks like they're trying to compete. In reality, Young hasn't played since December 27th with a knee issue, and there's still no clear timeline for his return. Washington went 7-5 in a stretch in late December and early January that had fans panicking that they might actually win too many games and lose the pick. The Wizards are 14-39 now and safely in the bottom 8. They have young pieces like Alex Sarr, Trey Johnson, and Keshawn George developing, and they're stockpiling talent for next season while conveniently losing this one. It's a masterclass in disguised tanking. Build for 2027 while tanking in 2026, and don't lose that pick to New York. Number 2. Utah Jazz. If you want to understand how brazen tanking has become, just watch the Utah Jazz. The league fined them $500,000 after they benched Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Jusuf Nurkic in the fourth quarter of consecutive close games. Utah blew a 17-point lead against Orlando after pulling its starters, and the loss wasn't even subtle. The Jazz have lost 23 of their last 31 games and sit at 18-38, despite having legitimate NBA talent on their roster. They traded for Jaren Jackson Jr. at the deadline in a move that signals they want to compete next season, but they're clearly not trying to win right now. Jackson looked great in his debut, with 22 points in 25 minutes, and then he vanished from the fourth quarter of a 3-point loss. Utah's pick is also top 8 protected, meaning they face the same pressure as Washington. The difference is that the Jazz aren't even trying to hide it. When Adam Silver specifically named Utah's behavior as the reason for league-wide concern, you know the tank has gone too far. But with Peterson, Dybantsa, and Boozer sitting at the top of the draft board, Utah has clearly decided that the fine was worth the cost of doing business. Drop a comment and let me know. Should the NBA be punishing these teams harder, or is tanking just part of the game now? Number 1. Milwaukee Bucks. This is the one nobody's talking about enough. The Milwaukee Bucks are 23-30. They have a former MVP in Giannis Antetokounmpo, and they are quietly sliding into the lottery without anyone calling it what it is. The Bucks will tell you this season went wrong because of roster construction, and that's true. Milwaukee failed to surround Giannis with the right pieces, and the results have been ugly. But here's what makes this a tank. The Bucks didn't trade Giannis at the deadline, despite growing pressure and multiple offers. They didn't make a significant move to improve the roster. They're just riding it out. Milwaukee's pick situation is the less favorable of their own pick and the Pelicans' 2026 pick, which means the worse they finish, the better their draft position. Meanwhile, Giannis has publicly expressed frustration without directly asking for a trade, and the entire league is watching to see if the Bucks can convince him to stay. Imagine pairing a 22-year-old Cam Boozer or AJ Dybantsa with Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's not just tanking. That's a long-term strategy disguised as a bad season. The NBA has a tanking problem, and it's not getting better. When the commissioner himself says the league is considering taking away draft picks, you know we've crossed a line. But as long as generational draft classes like 2026 exist, teams will keep finding creative ways to lose. The question is whether Adam Silver can fix the system before it gets even worse. If you want to stay locked in on how the tank race plays out as we head toward the lottery, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next breakdown.